Hey, welcome back to the Desert Walker podcast. It's your host, Jay. Today we are back with another episode, and I have another special guest with us, my brother in Christ, my good friend, Irwin. How you doing, brother?
Hey, how you doing, bro? I'm doing great.
I'm doing good
Excited.
myself, brother. Um,
I'm
tell me a
excited,
bit.
bro.
Tell me, you are? Me too.
Yes,
Nervous, excited, everything. Um,
sir.
but tell me a bit. Tell me a bit about yourself. What's up in your life?
Um, um, Nothing. Well, trying to be busy with work, trying to make money, getting um my stuff ready for my wedding. So excited,
Yeah,
nervous, a lot of mixed emotions. So that's what I'm right now focusing a lot on is just that the wedding part and getting ready for that next phase of my life.
brother. I'm happy for you, bro. So tell us, how long have you been with your significant other? How long has it been?
Oh, yeah, it's been a while. Think, I want to say 5 years. We've been together for 5 years.
Oh,
Yeah, it's around
that's
five
awesome.
years. Yeah, bro. It's about time, man.
It's about time.
It's about time to get married.
so, speaking on that, I guess you don't mind me asking you, like, how'd you encounter, your la ayuda idonia? How'd you encounter her? What what was
How
the
did how did we meet?
yeah
Man, you know, honestly, I love that question you asked because it's something that I am very, I get very emotional, very excited to tell that little bit of a story of how we met. And all I can say is it was all God, bro. Like, honestly, all God. And you could, like, the way I see it, I could see it as it's like how do I say it? It's like a movie type scenario that only, you probably would see in the movies and stuff like that.
uh
But it's just what's crazy is just like how God orchestrated everything for us to, be together and meet and, you know that we are the person for each other. God is the one that did all that. But yeah, we met. The funny thing is that I've been since ever since I moved from California. I started going here to church, and I've always been to our assembly, which is AIC, even
mhm.
in California. So when I moved here, that's the first church I came to was an AIC church here, and I stayed in that church ever since. Which I want to give a shout out to my church, El Shaddai. um, Ever since then, we have always been to camps, events, and um, I've always seen Jasmine. I always see her all the time, and I would see her, and I'm like, wow, that girl is beautiful. But my self-esteem, was low, so I was like, she's so pretty that I will never have a chance with her. But I remember
Mhm.
one time seeing her, and she was doing a play, and it was a camp, and she was doing a play, and I saw her, and I'm like, oh my goodness, God, if I could have a girl just like her, like her, and that's all I want. It's funny, and I got hurt, bro. Got hurt because I think like a year or two later, it was at another camp, and God spoke to me, and He used a great friend of mine, a great pastor, and Pastor John. May he rest in peace. He's
Mhm.
he was like older brother to me, but God used him at that moment to give me word and spoke to me. He told me that God had revealed to him my future wife, and he described everything to the dot that I wanted in a girl, like
Wow.
everything, like specific, like I, to have curly hair, to be, blanquita, to be flaquita, you know, to have a girl that could sing, stuff like that, like specifics.
Mhm.
And he described that, and I was like, whoa, like God, you're like you really know my desires. And then, he went on and said other specifics that like left me, wow, like this is crazy. Like, he told me that she had like this notebook for me. She had a notebook written letters towards me that she would give when we would get married. And I was like, wow, like at that moment, I was like, wow, this is that's cute, That's who's gonna do that? Who's gonna, that's how I know that person that's doing that uh, really knows what she wants. And that's something also I
Mhm.
told God, like I want someone that knows what they want. Um,
Mhm.
but at that moment when he was telling me that, I had no idea who it was. I just remember him telling me like she's closer than what you think. And then in my mind, I'm like, oh, she's in this room. She's here. But in my mind, at the same time, she did not herself did not cross my mind. So I was like, man. So that was at camp. Later on, I want to say like a few months later, we had the district um, convention, and that's when I met her.
Mm.
And I got, we went to this we went to Chile, and there
That's
was
Chili's is just a spot, bro. It's just
yeah, that's one of my favorite spots now. A lot of memories in Chile. But there was no spot to sit, and the only chair available was next to her. And I sat next to her, and it's funny because I really tried talking to her there while she was sitting next to me, but she wouldn't budge, bro. She would not give me the time of day.
oh.
So she didn't budge. Like we were playing a game, and I asked her how to play, and she was like, "Oh, I don't know." And she just turned around, and I was like, "Oh, okay." I'm not trying to make her sound harsh, but she just really didn't know me.
Yeah.
Um, but then we got our food. She got her food first, and then I got my food, and she was eating. And I had gotten, I think tenders, and then she got quesadilla. But in the quesadilla, they put like lettuce on the side and guac and shit and stuff like that,
Yep.
and a quesadilla and chili. So I was eating, and out of nowhere, I just see a piece of lettuce just fly from her plate all the way in mine, and I look at my plate, and I'm like, "Oh, it's raining food. Like, why is food flying?" And I look at her, and she's like grubbing, bro. She might be embarrassed when she hears it, but she was grubbing, and I look, and I'm like, "Man, is that good?" He's like, "If it ain't good, it ain't fine, huh?" And like ever since then, like I think making her laugh like made her feel a little bit more at ease. And she felt a little comfortable that after that we were just she spoke up, she opened up a little bit, so I feel good about that. And ever since then, we had became friends, and we became good friends. Talk here and there. Um, I didn't ask for her number until later on. I didn't want to ask it real then because that would have been. I think I would have been too aggressive and stuff like that. So I just
Uh-huh.
try to be friends. My mind was she's too pretty for me to talk to, so I just be her friend. That's I'm telling you, my self esteem was so down. So I
I
was
don't
like, you
know.
know what? I'm like, I can't. So I just be her friend. If anything, I'll be really good friends with her. Yeah. So ever since then, we were talking, and we talk on the phone, text and stuff. And months went by, and then this time we went. Um, we had gone to a South Carolina trip, and then we came back. And when I came back, my pastor, it was a Tuesday. We went. I went to service, and my pastor, she comes to me and she asks me, she's like, "Oh, I need to talk to you." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." I I thought I was getting in trouble. I don't know, but I just, when a pastor is serious and like, "Oh, I need to talk to you after church," sometimes you feel like, "Oh, what did I do?"
Yep.
But she's like, "Oh no, you didn't do nothing. I just need to ask you, like, are you talking to someone?" She was straight up. She's like, "Are you talking to someone?"
Oh.
And I was like, at the moment, I wasn't. So I was like, "No, pastor, I'm not." She's like, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "I don't think I am." I'm like, question. So I would like, asked her like, "No, pastor, like, if I was talking to someone, I would let you know. If anything, or I have friends. Yeah, I talk to my friends, but that's it." She's like, "Are you sure you're not talking to this girl?" Because at the moment, we went to the convention was in Bradenton, I think.
Uh-huh.
And then she was like, "Oh, you're not talking to that girl from Bradenton?" I'm like, "Wait, who?" She's like, "The girl you were with." I'm like, "Jasmine?" She's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "No, we're just friends. Like, we talk on the phone, we text, but that's about it." She's like, mm, "I don't know, because every time I see you guys together, there's something special that I don't see with anyone else. Like, it's just you two." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." Like, it left me thinking. And I was like, okay, that's a good observation. And she's like, "She's very pretty." I'm like, "I know, Pastor, but we're just friends." She's like, "Okay, we'll see." And she left. She left me like that. I'm like, "We'll see." So then, um, that night, that just was stuck on my head. So I messaged Jasmine and I told her like, "Oh, can we talk?" And we were talking. We were talking on the phone, and it was already late. It was like around midnight, and we were talking about previous relationships and stuff like that. And then, literally out of nowhere, bro, she's like, "Oh yeah, she's like, in my closet, I keep this journal that I have letters written for my husband that I'm gonna get when I get married."
Wow.
Bro, when she said that, my heart like stopped, and I felt like when she was saying it, like I felt the same pastor that told me that, like just saying it all over again. And I had forgotten about that. That was when that happened. When the pastor told me, it was January. When she told me, it was already in August. So months had passed by, and
Mm.
I had forgotten about that. But as soon as she said that, like it just like took me back, and I'm like, if I froze, like I was like in shock, and then I just like I told her, "You forgive me. Don't think I'm weird. Don't think I'm crazy. But I think you're the one."
Wait, you said it
Literally
like
just
that?
like that, like straight up. And then she was like, "Wait, what do you mean? Like, what are you saying?" I'm like, "I think you're the one. You're the one for me." And she's like, "Why? Why you say that?" Like she was already like scared, like nervous, because obviously she
Uh,
doesn't know what's happening. So I was like, I have to tell you. So I told her like what happened. And then she was like, "Can you confirm this?" So it was like 12 at night, and I immediately text the pastor. I'm like, "Hey, Pastor John, are you up?" And he's like, "Yeah, pa, what's going on?" I'm like, "Oh, like this is really important." And I told him what happened. He's like, "Yeah, I remember certain stuff." Like he didn't remember everything because
mm,
sometimes when God gives you a word, he like you're able to remember certain things, but sometimes it's just for that specific person to remember it,
yeah.
you know? So he's like, "Yeah, I remember certain things." He's like, But it's crazy. Like he confirms most of it, and
Mhm.
he's like, okay, let me do a group chat with you and her, and I'll talk to you both. So he did a group chat and talked to us both and gave us some advice on how to deal with something like that because he was also in shock. I was in shock. Jasmine just, I think Jasmine was just startled and like didn't know what was happening. She was just pretty sure she was confused. But, you know, at that moment, like I knew exactly that she was the one. She was the one that, that's for me. I just knew like it was gonna take time, and I was not gonna pressure her. I was not gonna, pressure
Mhm.
myself, because at the same time, God had to work with me. God had to work with her, for
Yeah.
everything to be in God's will. Everything is in God's timing and in not ours. So from there on, we were friends for like a year. After that, I asked her out, and we were going out. We went out for 2 years, and then we've been engaged, I think, for 3 years. So yeah, that's how we've been so far. And little by little, we've been getting more confirmation of us being like for us
Yeah.
are meant to be for each other. There's
Mhm.
one time I got prayed for, and exactly what I was told, she was told, but in a different area by someone else.
Wow.
Yeah, at a different timing, different person, and we were like, wow, like that's only God. Only God can do that.
That's man, that's amazing. Like,
Yeah, that's why
uh,
I just like, everything with, I just leave everything to God because I know God works in mysterious ways. God knows how to orchestrate everything. He knows, he's like a movie director. He knows how to direct the movie,
mhm.
you know. So that's why everything's in his hands. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's how me and her met. That's part of, you know, a short, kind of long testimony about that.
Um, there's no time limit here, so you're good on the being long or short, however you want to. But that is amazing. That is, it's beautiful the way God works, especially when He's putting people together. Um,
Mhm.
I will say you have the movie, you have the story every Christian guy wants to have. Just saying. Every single Christian guy, because you know, I'm pretty sure everybody who's has their person and married, they are very, very blessed. But you have like I don't even know how to say it. Like if there was like a certain bar of what you know to look for, that would be it in my opinion.
The thing is
Of
that,
how like oh, go
yeah,
ahead.
the thing is that, yeah, no, the thing is that, before her, I didn't have a girlfriend until I moved. I didn't have a girlfriend until like I was leaving California. After
Mhm,
California, I didn't have a girlfriend. So before my ex, I told God, God, no, after like right when we broke up, when we broke up with my ex, I told God, God, the next person that I'm gonna be with is the person I'm gonna marry. So God,
mhm,
I leave it to you because if I choose, if I, pick the person, I know I'm gonna mess up. I know I'm gonna get hurt. I know everything's gonna go down the drain, and it may not be the one you want, and it's not gonna succeed the way you want it to go.
mhm,
So that's why, after, like, I told God, God, you pick it. You're the one that's gonna pick the person for me. So you make your pick, and I know you will not disappoint. because I remember him telling me, he's like, you're gonna get everything you ask for, but better. So, like now, and now I'm, now with I'm with Jasmine. I see like she's everything I've asked for and better. Like she's just an amazing person.
Wow. Um, I think that's just um that's biblical too. Like let's say like like a breakup happens in somebody, or like somebody in other areas, like oh you get fired or something. A lot of times God closes doors, right, to open up bigger ones.
Hmm.
And I've actually talked to you about this. I remember
Yeah,
uh about my own personal story, where
yes, sir.
someone did tell me that exact thing. God closes doors before opening up bigger ones, and I'm still in that, I guess, waiting period. Waiting for God to open that door, and I'm obviously waiting patiently. Um, because
That's the key.
like you said, we don't we we do, like, as humans emotionally, we sometimes gravitate towards something, and we want that, in the moment,
Yeah,
not knowing that God has something better, you know.
and for the long run too.
Mhm, you know, um, and it's just worth waiting on God, because you know, sometimes we let our emotions get the best of us, and you're like, oh man, I'm tired of waiting. I just want to, be with something. I just need this, or um,
Yeah.
and then we just put things in our own hands, and then it kind of falls apart because it's not what God wanted for us. And just waiting on God. He gives us, like you said, sometimes He gives us what He wants. Sometimes He gives us better. Sometimes He gives us what we want, and it's more than we expected. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, that's just I think your story is a great example of that. Just letting God choose. Especially in that part of your life when we all, I think every single person, especially as Christians, we all want to be quote unquote married. We want that person, right?
Mhm.
I think in a lot of single Christians, even it's like a silent battle they have. Like some of them are like obsessed with like looking for that person, and
Yeah.
it's not healthy. I understand the emotions. I think that's something that we shouldn't look down upon on those people that are like looking for that person, because I think in one point in time everyone was that way. Um,
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
so it's something we have to. I understand, but at the same time, like, and I'm talking to people who are listening who might be in that boat, that they're just like frantically looking for someone, and just waiting and just praying like, God send me that person. Um, I think the best advice I can give you, it's a single Christian that has gone through some things with other people, um, is best to wait. Do not fall on your emotions, and
Hmm.
work on yourself too. I think the best thing you can do is just improve yourself with God. Improve your relationship with God. Um, there's a verse that says, "Seek God first, and everything else would come," and that's true. It's going to come. You know.
Yep.
Um,
The main key here is just being patient. Like that's I know something that a lot of people like struggle with is being patient. It's like when is my turn? They look at this other person like when is that gonna happen to me? I want something like that. And
mhm.
the best thing is have patience because God is patient. and if we want to be more Christ-like, then we have to be patient as well.
Yep.
We got to reflect of what God does too. You know, by being patient, God will do His thing, and you know, while in the patience, while you're seeking patience, work on yourself. You know, the main thing also is instead of looking for someone, falling in love with someone, with a person, try falling in love with God first.
Mm-hmm.
Because falling in love with God first, well, it's just anything else, God will work His way and He will open your eyes on who is the person you're gonna be with, or He's gonna open that panorama in that sense, and that view of who. And I remember I was telling God, like, God, the person that I want to be with has to love you more than anything else, has to love you more than me,
Mm-hmm.
has to love you more than whatever person is around you. So I remember, like, before I would ask, that was even before I moved here. I'd ask my exes, like, oh, what is it that you love the most? And they'll be like, oh, I love my mom, I love my parents, I love my grandparents, I love my family. And it's not bad, it's good to love them. But I
Yeah.
remember asking Jasmine, like, Jasmine, that what is it that you love the most? And she answered it like the way I've always told God I wanted someone to answer. She's like, I love God more than anything. And oh my goodness, like that just like put me in heart eyes, bro. It gave me heart eyes. I was like, oh my goodness. It's like that just like made my heart flutter and everything. I'm like, God, wow, like that is that is the answer I've been looking for. That is the answer that I've been wanting to hear for a long time, because no one would answer it the way that was supposed to be answered for me.
Mm-hmm.
And the way she answered, I was like, man, that's exactly what I want. Because like I said, and like I always say, if she loves God, if she loves God more than anything, then there's no doubt that she was gonna love me.
Yeah.
Because loving God first is gonna make you love everything else.
Yeah.
So that's why
Um.
it's just patience. Patience is the number one key in everything.
Yep. Exactly. Patience. Wait. Most importantly, wait on God. And make sure your heart is on God first too.
Exactly. Everything's aligned with God.
Yep. And slowly, for some people, but surely, you're gonna see how
Yeah.
everything falls in its place. Um.
And the thing is that usually it always happens when you're not expecting. Because I wasn't expecting it, and it always
Yeah.
comes when you're not expecting it. Because remember, it's not in your time; it's in God's time.
Exactly. Everything in its time, and we're gonna look back on it. And then for people in that winning season, maybe you're like frustrated and just anxious to finally get over that season. Eventually, when you do reach that point, when God blesses you with that person or that door of opportunity, you're gonna look back and realize, okay, all this waiting that I did was necessary. You know,
Mm.
it was all
Yep.
necessary, and you know, everything that God does is perfect. Uh,
Yes, sir.
But yeah, that's an amazing story. Um, Great. It's a great topic that
Mm-hmm.
we can definitely have just a podcast episode on that topic, and
Yeah.
um, it'd be um, it'd be really good. Um, But let's try to keep moving. um, it was an amazing story though. You know,
Glory to God.
yep. So let me well, it's not really an icebreaker question now because I think we broke the ice already. But
Yeah.
um here's a question. Just a random question that I look and I give to everybody. Completely random. So okay. Question is, what is something that you've always wanted to try, but you haven't had the chance to try it yet?
Ooh. Is anything like, is it like food wise or
Anything, anything. It could be food. It could be I don't know, traveling. I
well,
don't know anything.
I've always wanted to uh, skydive.
Skydive.
Yeah, I love heights. Um,
You
it's
love
just a thing.
heights?
Yeah, I love heights. I love,
Wow.
yeah, I just love heights. But I've always wanted to try that. I remember when I was a kid, I always wanted to be an astronaut because go up to space and all that, and you know, it's just pretty cool. But heights, yeah, and the skydiving would be fun. That's something I've always wanted to try, um, but haven't been able to. But I think one day I will, hopefully.
For your honeymoon?
No, 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 no,
I'm
for
just
my
messing
honeymoon.
around. Oh man. I'm not good with heights. I mean, I could stand somewhere high, but that's if I'm not like looking down, you know. Because
I
once I
could.
start looking down, then I'm just all right. Give
I,
me out
I
of
like.
here.
I look down and everything starts like swirling, but I love it. I love that feeling.
Oh man.
And it's
Oh
like,
boy.
you've been in an airplane, right? When you get like really bad turbulence and then the plane out of nowhere just drops.
Oh yeah. Oh. Oh yeah.
Well, I love that feeling. Like I remember one time I was on a plane and it was really bad turbulence for like 2 hours straight, like pretty much the whole flight. And I just see everybody around. People are crying. People are like praying, and
Yeah, and you're
some
just
people are.
enjoying every second of it.
I'm the whole time I'm laughing. I'm like enjoying. I'm putting my arms up like if it's a roller coaster, bro. Like,
Oh
yeah,
god.
I'm enjoying it. And then I got bored, and then it made me sleepy. Like I was literally enjoying
Oh wow.
the turbulence. It made me sleepy. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to sleep. It feels really relaxing. So I
Wow.
knocked out.
That is crazy.
Yeah,
Man. Well, well, I hope you get that chance to skydive.
I hope so
Um,
too. I know Jasmine likes heights too, so we could do a
oh wow, yeah. More look at that. Perfect. Perfect
yeah.
match. Oh man. Have you done like indoor skydiving though or
No, but I know there's one here. I think in I think it's in Miami or in Fort Lauderdale. So I'm gonna definitely check that out. Or I could do parasailing. I would love to do parasailing or air gliding or something like that. Something to do with the air.
Hmm, okay. Well, if you could fly, you would.
Yeah,
Just just drink a Red Bull and then you have wings.
Red Bull. Give you,
Yeah. Gives you wings.
yes,
All
sir.
right. All right. Okay. All right, so as we know this podcast is called Desert Walker and that obviously has to do with our walk in the desert, which is akin to our testimony, our story, our process of what we went through our walk with God, you know. So now part of this episode, I do want to ask you, what is your testimony? What is your walk? What is your process that you want to share? Your desert story, if you may.
Yeah, you know, uh, sometimes we find ourselves walking in a desert multiple times, different parts of this, because remember, a desert is vast, it's
Mm,
enormous. And, sometimes, we may think we're out of the desert, but then we go back into the desert, and you know, it's a season. I
right.
like to see it as a season in which you're not going to be there forever because the desert always has an end point as well.
Mm-hmm.
There's a start and there's a beginning for a desert. Um, yeah, I want to talk about one time, like, it was right before I moved to Florida because I felt like that was one of my biggest process that I
Mm,
had to go through. One of my biggest desert moment that I experienced, and now that I look back at it, um, I thank God for that experience because if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be here in this very moment. Um, so I'll start off with when I lived in California. I was born and raised in California. I was born in San Francisco, California. Well, right across the Golden Gate Bridge. So right on the
mm,
other side of San Francisco is this town called Green Bay, California. And it's located in Marin County, California. Um so pretty much like right across San Francisco, so I still consider it San Francisco. So I lived there almost all my life in California. I lived 6 years in LA, and I lived in total in California, I think like 20, I don't know if it's 22, 23 years in California,
uh,
around there. So, pretty much almost all my life there. Um, so this desert moment, I it was hard because we were going through a difficult time as a family as well. We were in the process of moving to my parents were in the process. Everybody was in the process of moving to Florida. Me personally, I hated it. I did not want to come to Florida. My mind was, I'm a Californian till the day I die. I'm gonna live in
uh,
California till the day I die. That was my mentality. As a Californian, we're very proud people in the sense of we're proud to be Californians. And I didn't like that idea of moving to Florida. I like the idea of going to visit Florida once in a while, yeah, but moving, no.
mm,
My reasons were because I had a girlfriend at that time, and that was my ex. But I had my girlfriend, and I was in the process of still going to school, and
mm,
still trying to figure out my life in that sense. I was like what 19, 20 at that moment. Um, so I was a little bit frustrated in that sense because my parents were like, "Oh no, you're gonna stay here by yourself or you're gonna go with us to Florida."
mm,
I had nothing. My only source of income was working with my dad, so I had no option. Um, we moved. We took a week. We drove from California to Florida. We took a week because we went through the north. We went through Colorado, through that area, and then dropped all the way down to Florida. So that's why we took a week. But when we reached Florida, uh, I think we, me and my dad stayed in Florida for like a week, and then we flew back to California because we still had to work in California. Plus, we were making really good money in California compared to how the pricing in Florida was.
Mm,
Um, our job requires, we paint houses. So what we would get paid in California would be like, let's say for an average house, we get paid like 8 to 9 thousand dollars to do. Here, when we came here, like the prices were 2 to 3 thousand. So the price was very, very different. So in that sense, we were struggling here. So that's why we would go to California and work. It was just being me and my dad. So we were there in California. Um, and there was this one time where I just couldn't. I had made it a decent amount of money, and I didn't want to go back to Florida. And I was like, God, please, I do not want to go, and I just don't want to do this. I really don't. And I decided to stay in California. And let me tell you, when I struggled a little bit in the first few months because I stayed in the house of my friend for like a month, I think, and I was literally sleeping on the couch. Um, for work, I couldn't find a job for that month. So I was like, what did I do? So then my uncle, I, I had found out my uncle lived um a few a few streets down, and I was like, man, I just go move in with my uncle. He works. So I went and
mm,
I moved in with my uncle, and he was working there, and I was working with him, and I stayed there for like a month and a half, I think. Working with him and trying to make money. Uh, then my other friend lived around there, and my uncle, I just started having problems with my uncle. So I was like, what, I can't be in this environment. Like, God, please help me find someone that I can stay with. So my friend that I went to church with, he lived around the block too. So I went, and he told me like, oh, if you ever need a place to stay, just come with me now. I'm here for you and this and that. And I was like, you know what? I can't do this with my uncle. So I left. I left with my uncle and I went with my friend. And once in a while, we'll go to church with him, and God would speak to me, and God would tell me like, things aren't going to be easy, but I'm still here for you. Like I've never left you. I have never
mm,
left you. And I'm like, thank you, God, because that's what I need. But for me, I took it as, oh, okay, that means I'm good. That means I'm good. You know, God has me now. Like, God has my back. So, you know, but during that time with my friend there, I couldn't find another job. Like, I stayed there for like another month, I think, like 3 weeks, and I couldn't find a job until like the last week I was there. Um, I was able to find a job, but I wasn't gonna get paid until like the the following week. When I was there in the last week, my friend's like, "Hey, man, I told you I'd give you 3 weeks, and 3 weeks are up, so you gotta go." And I understood because he had his wife and he had his kids, so I was like, you know what, I can't. But it's just like the way it was done. I personally didn't like it, but I was like, it's whatever. I'm a man. I need to find my way. So my ex, her mom, helped me get an apartment, and I'm like, this is good because I work, and I just paid my apartment, and good. And I have a car. I was able to get a car with the money I saved, so I bought myself a car, and I felt like I was doing good because I had my own apartment, I had a job, I had a car. Um, so I think I thought I was living good. I had my my girlfriend and I, we had broke up because she thought I was moving to Florida and I wasn't coming back. But I came back, but then we were just been broken up. So at the same time, I was just like trying to. It just goes back to like the beginning of how we're seeking for someone, but it's not the person.
Yeah.
And I was trying to improve myself, but it wasn't for the right reason. I was trying to improve myself for her to see that I'm doing good, so she could, you know, come back with me. And you know, I was working at this gym, and it was going good. Then they transferred me closer to where my apartment was, so it was literally around the corner. So I really didn't have to drive that much. And I was like, God, everything is opening up well. Everything's going good, you know. But the thing is that I was only seeking God when everything was good, you know. When everything is good, I'm like, oh, thank you, this is 'cause God, thank you, you know. But when it was bad, I was just trying to do it myself. Came to a point where I started feeling lonely. I'm like, God, like I feel lonely, but what can I do? So I try to, talk to since I worked at a gym, you meet a lot of people. So there would be a lot of girls. So I would talk to a lot of girls and, hang out with them, but I'd be scared at the same time, like my heart would be scared. It's like no, I can't be with this person, I can't, you know, I can't. And it came to a point where like I got myself a dog because that's how lonely I was. Like I went and I got which my dog name is Coda. He's he's 10 years old now. So I've been having him since he was 2 months. So he's my son. But I went and I got him, and for the moment he kept me. Like I didn't feel as lonely, but I still felt like something was missing. You know, I remember it was a Thanksgiving I spent alone, and I had like the money I'd make from work. There's just enough to cover my bills, just enough to pay, just enough to have for gas. So after all of that, I would have to try to survive a week, like at least a week with $10, bro, in my pocket until I get paid.
Wow.
So it was a struggle. So like I remember one Thanksgiving, I went to the store and I bought those chickens that they sell in the like in Costco, the ones in the container, the little container,
The
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 whole chicken.
rotisserie. Yeah, the whole.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm like, it's not a turkey. I even posted it. I was like, it's not a turkey, but this will do in this lonely Thanksgiving. And I remember eating that chicken like with tears running down my eyes because I was like, my family's not here. Like, I have no one here close to me. Like, there's no one here near me that I love that could fill this emptiness. And that's what I'm talking about. That in that moment, like I wouldn't seek God. Like it was just me trying to console myself instead of seeking God for Him to console me or for Him to,
Mm.
give me peace or for Him to, you know, tranquility. No, it was just me trying to like make myself feel better. And at the time it would help. Like I would like the thing is that when we do stuff like that, it is temporary. It is only temporary. Like you could feel
Yeah.
good at the moment, but then again, tomorrow you could feel the same and it won't work. You know what I'm saying? You'll
Hmm.
feel again really bad because it's the same thing come up again. Um, it came to a point that I was like, man, like I even celebrated my birthdays by myself, and I would just like the thing is that I get like messages like I felt like pity, like, and I something I hate is people to feel pity for me, like feel bad for me. I hated that. That's something that I hated so much, and like people would like, oh, you could come and spend Christmas with us, or you could come because I know it's your birthday. You could come spend your birthday with us, or you could spend it with us or New Year. And honestly, I did not. I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to spend it with no one. I isolated myself. I literally cut all my friends. I had like literally like one or two friends that would come and like just hang out, probably play video games. And but other than that, like no, like I really the way I try to console myself was just like when I go to the gym, just stay in the gym, work out, talk to people there. That's what like kept my mind distracted. Um, it came one day where um I was having a rough time at my work where we had gotten a new manager and this manager was being like extremely like I get is their job, but to treat people like animals, like you gotta set your boundaries. So
Hmm.
I had gotten a write up and they gave me a 2 week, like, they put me in a 2 weeks without pay. So I was like, whatever. So then, out of nowhere, my dad is like, hey, uh, this was a year later. And my dad messaged me. He's like, oh, how you doing? You want to work? You want to make money? You come here for 2, 3 weeks, Florida, and you can make money. I'm like, you know what? Sure, I'm not working. I am not. I don't have money. I need money. So I'm going. So my mentality was like, okay, I'm gonna go work, make money, come back, and try to find a job to make more money and try to survive. Because my mind was set of not moving to Florida. Um,
Uh,
I did. I tell you, I did not like it. But I moved. I came to Florida. I came and I helped my dad. And he's like, "Oh yeah, on Thursday we have Bible study." And
mm.
then you come and meet the new jóvenes and this and that. I'm like, yeah. Mind you, I had not been to church for like a year or so. So my mentality is like, oh, is there gonna be pretty girls? Mentality. Yeah. Like I said, looking where, like my own, your flesh,
Yeah.
like, is there gonna be pretty girls, this and that? And, you know, like, oh, you have to come, meet the youth. They all want to meet you and this and that. So I was like, all right. So we went that Thursday, I remember, and I remember that they were talking. They were talking. I think it was a prodigal son, and they're talking about it. How he left, and he did all his thing, and then he came back, and the father received him with open arms. And when I tell you that, like the 3 weeks, the three times I went to the Bible study, like all three times, God spoke to me. God spoke to me like while I was sitting in there listening. I just hear in my mind like God speaking to me, like, "What are you doing over there?" Like that's like me fighting myself. Like, what are you doing over there?
Mhm.
You have no one over there. Like here, you have your family. Here, you have everybody around you. What are you doing over there? You need to be here. This is where you need to be. And I kept fighting. And in that moment, I'm like, yeah, that's right. I should move over here. I should, I have everybody here, this and that. But literally, as soon as I walked out the door of the church, nah, I need to go. I need to go to Florida. I mean, I need to go back to California. That's where I need to be. Like, it was a really, really rough battle that I was like, wow, like it was hard. Um, I remember the last day, the last day of the Bible study, and all the Hovenists came. They're like, "Oh, you're leaving. Uh, so we got a surprise for you." They all got me they all got me cake. They got me a cake, and they cut it, and we had a good time. And then I realized, wow, like this is what I wanted. Like, I wanted a family, not just a, a, a physical family, but like a spiritual family. And they were all welcoming. They were all fun. There was other people that were like, "Oh, why does he get cake?" Like those type of people.
Oh
Like I
man.
didn't mind. I didn't pay attention because I'm like, whatever, man. At least you're getting cake.
Mm.
But I just find it funny because there's always one of those people like, why is this person doing this?
Yep. Oh.
There's always that one thorn in the desert.
Yeah. That one hater.
Yeah, that one thorn that is always bothering me.
Yep.
um, you know, I was like, wow, I got to experience that. But as I left, I'm in the plane, like I'm leaving. I'm in the airport. I'm like, man, I finally get to go home. I'm so excited. I don't have to come back to Florida. So I'm I'm in the plane. I'm getting ready. I kid you not. As soon as I land and I walk into, as soon as I land and I walk into like the little bridge to
Yep.
once you get off the airplane. As soon as I step foot in there, my heart just like I need to go back. Like I need
Oh.
to go back. Like something in my heart, I need to go back. Like I can't be here no more. I immediately call my dad. I'm like, Dad, give me like a week or give me 2 weeks to like sell my stuff and get everything ready, sell my car and to get money so I could go over there and find a way how I could take my dog and this and that. And he's like, okay, yeah, yeah, anything you need, just let me know. Obviously, my dad wanted me to afford it because, who wouldn't want their kid next to them, right? Who wouldn't want their
Yeah.
son, their child, they haven't been with for like a long time. So I was like, okay. I go, as soon as I get to my apartment, I'm looking around. I'm like, damn, I live, I live, I live like this. Like all these feelings just start coming. Let me tell you, I lived in one of the worst neighborhoods in that area that I was in. It was a very dangerous neighborhood, and
Oh.
I as soon as I get there, I'm like, wow, like how do I live like this? Like I can't be living like this. This is not what I'm intended to be. Like I'm not intended to be like this. Um, so I'm like, okay, let me see. Let me start getting ready. Start getting all these things ready. So I started trying to sell my car, and the way I had gotten my car was, um, I had gotten it through someone else's name because I didn't have a license at the moment, and I wasn't able to transfer nothing to my name. And when that person found out I was trying to sell my car, they came. They're like, "Oh, I want my car because it's not under your name; it's under my name. I could just report it that you stole it." So,
Mm.
so I lost my car. They took my car. I couldn't really fight for it. At the same time, I was young and dumb, so I didn't know anything of like how everything would had to work, like all the laws and all that stuff. So I was very naive. Um, Literally in like a span of 2, 3 days, I lost my car arriving there. Um, then my ex, her mom, how she helped me get the apartment. She told me I had to leave. We had a problem, and she kicked me out
Mm.
because it was under her name too, apartment. So I
Wow.
got kicked out. I got kicked out. So I had the end of that week to leave. So instead of 2 weeks, I had like 2, 3 days left to leave. When I tell you, I was like devastated. I was lost. I was everything. I cried though. I cried so bad because I didn't know what to do. I literally had lost my job. I lost my car. I lost my apartment. So I was like devastated. Like, what am I supposed to do? And on top of that, like I broke down, and that lady, my ex's mom, still has the audacity to start like laugh, like laugh in my face, like, oh, you know, that's what you get, this and that. Why are you crying? You shouldn't cry. That's what you get, stuff like that. Like, when you step on a cockroach and then you twist and turn your foot to like get it, make sure it's
Mm-hmm.
completely dead. That's how I felt like I was like.
Mm.
That's how I felt like I was being, at that moment. But I remember one of those nights I tell God, God, I am so sorry. I am sorry of everything. I need you. I completely need you. I can't do this on my own. I can't, everything. I'm placing everything in your hands. I can't do this. I remember one time God telling me, like, you see, you can't, he told me, you see, you can't do this by yourself. Like, you can't do this on your own.
Well.
Like, like, God was telling me, like, you need me. You can't do this on your own. And I like realized, oh my God, I 100% need you. I can't. I really can't. I really, really can't. I just at that moment I felt like the devil really wanted to take everything away from me and really like wanted to destroy me. It came to a point where like one of the last days I was like, I need to like leave now because I feel like my life is in danger. Like it could, I don't know, because like I said, I lived in a very dangerous area. I had this lady kicking me out. I had, all this on top of me. So I was like, my life is in danger. I need to go. If I stay here any longer, I may lose myself. And I told God, God, I place everything in your hand. So tomorrow, to the next day, I was like, God, I'm gonna try to rent a car. I'm gonna drive, fit anything that I can of my stuff, and drive to Florida.
Huh.
Obviously, I wasn't able to rent a car because I didn't have a license. So I had one of my good friends. She was one of my greatest friends at that point. She was the only one that was able um to help me. How do I say this? She was one of these girls that was lesbian, but she dressed up like very manly. very, like that.
Mhm.
But she had a nice, she had a nice heart. Like I said, at the time, I really didn't judge no one or nothing. I still don't judge people. It's not my place to do that. I I saw her as a person that needed love and needed, a person to be there for her as well.
Mhm.
So we were like in the same boat. But she helped me rent a car, and me and her drove from California. So let me tell you, God started opening doors for me to move here because with only $200 that I spent on gas from California to
Mhm.
here, it was more
Jeez.
than enough. Yeah, just that's literally not much. Um, it was $200 trip is I think it's one of the cheapest trips I ever done
Wow.
from from California to Florida, and we literally drove nonstop. Uh, I was able to bring my dog, so Coda's now obviously Coda's here. He's been, you know, he's already old, but
Uh-huh.
ever since getting here, God has like been slowly opening the door. Had been opening the door. I remember going to service that Sunday that I got there, and everybody in church was like, "Oh, you're back?" I was like, "Yeah." I told God I was gonna be back. But the thing is that it just didn't. It still the attacks didn't end there because I was still there would be moments like, "What am I doing here? I need to go back." I need to go back to where I was. I need to go back to California. I can't be here.
Mhm.
I'll still fight myself. And I remember God just little by little by little started working. And till now, like I tell God, like God, you know, everything that I am, everything that I I just give it all to you. I give all the glory to you. I give you all the thanks because if it wasn't for you, I think I'd be dead. I wouldn't be here. I'd be dead. I'd be lost. I don't know. I don't know what would be my life. But since then, God has given me a new life, has given me like a new meaning of life, a new meaning of like seeking Him. Obviously, there's times where we struggle, where we, like I said, we go back to the desert. We go back to a desert and, you know, but it's all part of the process. It's all part of a different process that we go through. And during this time, during that desert, I just, what I learned was that, even though there's desert, there's still life in there. There's still
Yeah.
life in the desert. There's still a lot of life in a desert. Not
Mhm.
everything is dead in the desert. A cactus lives pretty well in the desert.
Yep.
With a little bit of water, it could survive. So, I felt like God had given me a little bit of water when I came those 3 weeks to visit my parents here to survive what I had to go through and prepare
Yep.
me for you know, that time. I know like most of the hard part for me was getting out of that desert. Going through the desert, sometimes it could seem like everything's going easy, that you could take it, but when you start losing everything, when you start getting weak, when you start getting fatigued, it starts getting harder and harder. So in order to get over that, let's call it a dune, those sand dunes.
Yeah.
In order to
Mm.
get over that dune, you need to have some strength to get over it,
Mhm.
or else you're gonna get buried alive in the sand there. Um, but
Yep.
I felt like God gave me some strength to get over that dune, to see what's on the other side, to be able to reach that. that side of the other side of the dune to see where there's actually uh uh have you seen those little when the desert starts turning into like forest or like a tropical like something like that? You have you seen those? Or there's like a
Uh,
little river running through and stuff
uh,
like that.
like um, like an oasis.
Yes. Yeah. Like you know how in Lion King
Yeah.
when Simba's in the desert and then they take him to where Simone and Pumbaa live,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
like that. Like in order to get over that, you to see that oasis, you have to have a little bit of strength, of determination, and a vision of where you're going to to get there. And I think that's what happened. And I feel like I myself got me into that desert instead of sometimes we're placed there for for a purpose and
Hmm.
for a for a trial or but for me I feel like I didn't I wasn't placed. I put myself there. You know, it's a difference of getting placed and getting yourself put. Because sometimes you find yourself lost. You don't know what to do, as opposed of being placed there. Like you know what you need to do, but you just don't want to do it,
Yeah.
and you're stuck in that desert. As of when you go into that desert, when you put yourself in that desert, you don't know where to go, and
Hmm.
you're stuck on yourself. But the good thing is that God is always watching, always there, always there, with a helping hand. And I think that was like one of my worst, like driest desert because like I said, I wouldn't seek God. I wouldn't hear from God. It wasn't, I wouldn't hear God. It was all me, me, me. And like getting, when I was already out, when I was telling you, when I was out of that whole situation, I realized that it's not, it's what we're living now is never about us.
Hmm.
Why? Because God already made it about us. He made it about us when he died in that cross.
Yep. Exactly.
He made it specifically about us there. And he displayed it for everybody to see. So since then, it has never been about us. It has never been about us. It's always been about God. How can we serve God? How can we make God proud? How can we, reflect God? So it's always about Him. It's always going to be about Him. Because, like I said, ever since God put His life in the cross for us, that was a moment about us. Now that moment's not. Now the moment's about Him.
Hmm.
And yeah, since then, like I said, since then everything like I said, I told God like he was gonna if I had to that the next person was gonna be the person I was gonna get married, all that stuff. Like you see, I gave it all to God. God slowly has fulfilled his promises. He has all slowly taken care of it. He's given me a lot of patience when before I was like very, you know, very impatient. But
Hmm.
now like I feel like I'm very patient on certain things. Obviously, we always have to work on patience. Sometimes we feel we get impatient. We get impatient, but um, I know God taught me how to wait in Him a lot, and I give God all the glory because you know if it's not for Him, then we wouldn't be here. Like I said, we wouldn't be here, and yeah, man, it's been here trying, always trying to seek God and how we could how I could make God proud. And since then, little by little, like I said, little by little, God has helped me achieve things. After that, I was able to become a member of the church, you know, serve God completely. Um, God being able to be baptized in the Holy Spirit, which is, something that was like for me is one of the most amazing gifts because it's not the sole purpose. It's not the purpose of speaking tongues and all that. Yeah, that's a gift. But what's important is that it's a gift. It's a gift specifically from God.
Yeah.
What better gift than a gift from God? So like nothing, nothing beats that, bro. Nothing beats that. You know, a
Mhm.
gift from God is just like there's no price. There's literally no price on that.
Exactly. It's priceless. Nothing can beat it.
Exactly. Exactly. And I was able to after that I was able to join institute and by glory to God, bro. And when I tell you, I suck at school. Like I am bad at what is school. That's why I didn't do college. Bro. I'm telling you, don't. I don't make fun of me, but I didn't do college
Yeah.
because school is not for me. I like to work. I like to
Yeah.
get you know physical work, labor, all that stuff.
Hmm.
So when it came to institute, I did the 3 years, and by glory to God, bro, I came second in the whole district.
Wow.
So I got salutatorian, I think.
Wow. What
So
year was that?
ooh, is it 19?
2019. Because
Think so.
wow. Because trying to remember. I don't know if I graduated 18 or 19, but I got fourth place. So I was just trying to
Let me
see
see.
when we
I'm
lined up.
trying. I'll see right now. I'll figure it out. I got um. I can't find it, but yeah, it was second place,
Wow.
2019.
Wow.
Yeah, 2019, which was I think a huge accomplishment. And like I said, I was really bad in school, but when it came to institute, like I gave it my all. I was that's just something that learning about the word, learning about God Himself, like all of that is just so interesting. So I'm very passionate about that. So I gave it my all on that, and I was able to get second place on that. And then the next year, I was able to join the Escuela Ministerio, so I was able to graduate on that too. So I got my
Oh,
all my 4 years of studying, like it paid off. So I got all of that, and it's not to boast myself or nothing. It's just give the glory to God because if it wasn't for
hmm.
Him, I wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So that's like I said, little accomplishments here and there that I was able to do because of God, and that's where that oasis is at
Hmm.
from that.
Yeah. Um. It's crazy how like even in roads that we place ourselves in, like
Mhm,
like you mentioned earlier, there's deserts that we are placed in for a purpose, and then there's deserts that we put ourselves in.
mhm,
Um. Either way, they all lead back to God. You know.
exactly.
Um. And I think that's a beautiful thing. Just like the prodigal son, he left. His family. He took inheritance, and he
Hmm.
lost it all on the way. You know, he had to sleep with and eat with pigs, and all
Yeah.
that. And eventually he went back. He went back, and you know, his dad came running to him, when he saw him, you know.
Yeah.
And that's, sometimes how God is with us. And he his dad gave him a celebration and everything. Um
Yeah.
and it's just beautiful. Like all roads, like all these deserts
And
where we place ourselves, um and we correct ourselves along the way, it leads back to him. Were you gonna say
mhm.
something?
Yeah, and like you said, how his dad welcomed him with open arms. That's like exactly how I felt when I got back, when I came back to the church. Like the church literally welcomed me. Like everybody there welcomed me with open arms. And I love my church, I love them, and they've always been there for me, and they've never given up on me. They've always showed support. Um, where obviously there's been times that, we've had our rough times where, you know, times where like I've tried to, like I've almost given up, but my church is still there, like pushing and
Mhm.
not giving up on me. That's just more motivation to not to not give up. So I really appreciate my church and I love them a lot because since day one they've opened me with open arms. They have um, they have gotten me with open arms, so they received me with open arms.
That's absolutely amazing. And you've been in the same church since you started in Florida?
Yeah, same church.
El Shaddai. Shout
El
out to
Shaddai.
them.
Yeah, shout out.
Down south in
It's in
Miami,
West Palm.
right? Or
West Palm.
West Palm, West Palm. Down there in
Yeah.
West Palm. Shout out to them. um, but yeah, that's really amazing. Um, and we see that today. I've have the privilege and honor of working side by side with you in our youth leadership in our district. You know, um, and just to see how God moves. And you and me and each and every one of us. It's something I've said. Especially with our group, our like team that we have is like all of us have like we've all gone through it in some way, shape, or form, and you can see that in each and every one of us. We've gone through something, especially in this team. And it's just it's just beautiful how God brings people together. To just work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we and it just shows all the other the youth that are looking to us, and seeing God through what we do. That we've all gone through it. We've all had our situations, our heartbreak, our times where we felt devastated. Our lowest moments. You know, and just see how God can pick someone like that and use
Mm-hmm.
them to lead. You know, um, it's beautiful. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, thank you for sharing your story. Very, very, very. How do I say it? Very moving. Emotional. Um, there's a lot that I can pick out from it, and just like learn from it too. There's a lot to reflect on it. So it's amazing. Uh, thank you again for sharing that. So I guess we're getting near the end of the episode, unless the God says otherwise. um, but so tell me, after everything um you've shared and everything, what is a Bible verse that like currently like today or currently in your season of life that speaks to you?
Well, right now, this is verse that I love. Um, I don't know if it has to do with anything of today, but it's just like
Oh, you can share it. You can
it's just,
share it.
Okay, it's just been like I love it because it's just amazing. It's in Job 33:4,
33, 4.
and it says, "The Spirit of God has made me. The breath of the Almighty gives me life."
Mm. The Spirit of
I just
God
love
has
it.
made
I
me
love
the
it
breath.
because it's it's a lo- I love it because it's just, God is life,
Yeah.
and without Him we can't survive, and it's just that's something that's on a daily basis, you know. Uh, Without Him we can't live, you know. We can't live physically, and we can't live spiritually or emotionally.
Hmm.
All of that is what God is. God is life.
Yeah. He's the one that gave us, he gave us breath. He gave that breath to Adam, and he, came into existence. And
Exactly.
it kind of reminds me of like there's this saying. I'm pretty. You've probably heard it so many times. Like fresh wind. You've heard that. I'm pretty sure.
Yes. Yes.
Multiple times, and we hear it a lot, like in events or camps and stuff. Fresh wind. Especially when God is moving and doing something um,
Mm.
n- new. Not new in the sense that he's never done it before, but new in like you know, uh, I don't know how to explain it. Like for that moment, for those
Yeah.
people, you know. Um, and we have to think like every day we're giving we're being given another chance of life. Not only just at those events, at those moments where we're receiving fresh wind, but every single day, you know, God is giving us another day of opportunity, another day, to live. He is literally the breath in our lungs, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so that's a wow,
And
that's a
I like
very
it
good
too because,
verse.
like I was saying, God gave us life. You know, He died for us so we could have life,
Hmm.
right? Imagine how that's just crazy. We live for Him. He died for us so we could live for Him. It's just something to
Yeah.
take, in consideration. To think about it daily, every morning when you wake up, or every night when you go to sleep. He died for us so we could live for Him.
Hmm. And that's just something to be thankful for every day we wake up. But
Hmm.
without him, without him dying on the cross, we wouldn't be here. Honestly,
That's
um,
right.
just think like all the opportunities we have, all this like grace that we have, because as humans, we're not perfect and we fall. You know, every day
Hmm.
we fall in some way. And some
Yep.
ways we don't know exactly how we fall, but we do. You know, and God, with that sacrifice on the cross, is giving us this forgiveness and grace. You know, and just this another opportunity to make things right, not just for ourselves, but for Him. To grow within Him. And I think that's the best way to give back is to live for Him. You know,
Yes, sir.
so
Yes, sir.
that's a great verse that you brought up. So there's a lot to pick apart from that.
Hmm.
So, anyways, well, thanks for everything. One last
Hmm.
question to ask you: what are you up to right now? What's uh what's the life of Irwin looking like currently?
Right now,
Any plans? Any
still, like I said, I'm just trying to work hard for this wedding,
Mhm.
and also just trying to work hard for the youth as well, and in the district. You know,
Yep.
you
Hmm.
know that too. Since we work together, we want the best for the youth and try to
Yep.
keep the youth motivated, keep them united, and you know, motivated, motivated one way or another. And I'm glad that you're doing this podcast with people, because it gives them something to hear, something to look forward to, something new, something different, and it's it's good. I like it. I like it a lot. Like for me personally, I like working. I love working with the youth. Um, like youth, working with the youth is one of my passions because they need a lot of help. They need a lot of
Mm-hmm.
motivation, and with you being a youth myself, well, an older youth, I should say. Sometimes us as youth, we confide better with youth ourselves than with our own parents or older people, which
Yeah.
is, it's not bad. I'm not trying to throw shade or nothing, but uh, it just sometimes we feel more comfortable like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's why
Exactly.
I love working with youth because they feel more. I like them to feel more comfortable with me and the person they could talk to and be there for them, like a spiritual guide in a sense, you know, all under God, obviously.
Yeah. 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 It's true. Sometimes we um just confide and and like other youth because not just age or anything, but they're in a way are kind of dealing with the same world that we are. The same times
Exactly.
that we're
Hmm.
living in. So the
We could
same
be
thing that's on the
relatable.
news, yeah, the same thing that's on the news, that are hitting us is hitting them as well. Um, and we're all dealing with that in real time. So we all can kind of lean on each other, and that's why I think it's like, especially in our council and our organization, I love that they use other youth to lead. Um,
Hmm.
because I know there's and this is not throwing shade to anything. I know there's other churches and councils that they only allow youth leaders to be like adults, people that are married or stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, and I really like that we in our, by the way, anyone who's not from our council, AIC, it's AIC, Assembly of Christian Churches, Asamblea de Iglesias Cristianas in Spanish. Um, um, the what I love about us is that we use other youth. Um, we use youth to lead other youth, and obviously with guidance. That's why we have a consultant, un consultor, with us. Um, but it shows, that um, I'm just a youth, just like you are. And God is using me in this position for this time. What you know, who's to say God can't use you the same way?
Hmm.
Um, and we, like I've said before, we've all gone through it. And it's just more relatable. It just it brings, like, I guess, a more sense of unity, a sense of comfort. In a way, we're creating almost like a spiritual safe place because you know we're all youth and we're all just confiding in each other and helping each other out and walking through it at the same time. And especially I saw that at camp, especially this year at camp, which was amazing. I felt that unity, that unity amongst all the youth. That especially, I don't know if you remember this one time, not this one time, but it was during the day service, I believe, where everyone was singing. There was no
Yeah.
music, but everyone was just singing, you know, out loud in
Yeah. And
unity.
harmony. Yeah.
Yeah, in harmony. It was so, it was just so beautiful. It's just how God moves that way, and it just shows,
Yeah.
we're all here together. Um, Yeah, that's probably one of my favorite moments, and that's just like it's part of what we do and why we do it.
Mm.
Um,
It's
for the glory
passion.
of God.
It's all
Exactly.
passion.
Yeah, it's just an amazing thing. Um, well, thank you for saying yes to be on
Bro,
this episode, this podcast.
always my pleasure, man.
And definitely not gonna be the last time you show up on a podcast. In the future,
Awesome.
you'll be around some more, and there's a lot more projects in the store, not just podcast. There's other things coming up that I'll keep to myself, but just stay tuned if you're listening. Um, Anything else? Any last words? Not last words because you're still alive. But any closing statements that you wanna
Bro,
mention?
yeah, this is good. Keep doing what you're doing. Doing great. Uh, like like I said, God has chosen you for this moment, and you're a beacon right now for this exact moment for to you to reach out to you. And I hope that everybody that listens, tunes in and shares it, and not just my testimony, but everybody else's testimony. It's good sometimes to hear people's testimonies because you can see how good God has been and how great He is and what He does and how He does things. It's good to see God's glory move through everybody that goes on this podcast or shares their testimony. Um, at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure Jay does this podcast because it's something God has placed in his hand, and it's God given. You know, it's a God given uh, passion, and anything that's God given, we have to come about. If God calls you to do something, all we can say, is Amen. Like, yes, we're here.
Mm,
You know, because who are we to fight against God? Who are we to tell God no? I mean, if you want to tell God no, go ahead, but
mhm.
that's on your at your own
Well,
at your own risk, But everything's for a purpose, and I know Jay, God has chosen you for this purpose, and little by little, God's gonna start opening more doors, and you know, uh, next thing you know, you're gonna be a TV host or something. Yeah, you know. But I know s- one step at a time, and
mm,
everything will be how God planned. And your your vision, how I think the other day when we had prayer night, we spoke. How having God's vision aligned with our vision aligned with God's vision,
mhm. Yeah.
and your vision to be aligned with God's vision. That way, we are able to all be aligned with that same vision. Be one in one spirit. But once again, I thank you for giving me this opportunity. Um, and I'm always here at your service for anything. I am here for whatever you need at your service. Okay. Um, that's what I'm here for.
Glory to God. And amen. Again, thank you for being on here, saying yes to it, and like you said, just following what the vision God has placed, and I'm trusting in Him that everything will go according to His will. Um,
Yes, sir.
but yeah, thank you again for everything for the people listening. Stay tuned for more things to come. There's a lot planned in the future and current. Just thank you once again, and for those listening, I just asked and encourage you guys to pray for our brother Irwin. and what God has aligned for him, that everything may go well in his life, and yeah, that we
And,
just hope for the best. Um,
and thank you.
well, we shall see everybody soon. Stay tuned, share, and tell us what you think. If you feel to share something, just let us know. But yeah, thank you for all our listeners, everyone that's invited, everyone that's going to come. Stay tuned. We'll see you soon.
And so, God bless everybody.